making a run at it, aren't you? Rolling up a steak and going to Vegas.
The #1 poker internet show is now on the radio. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. For the next 60 minutes, we're going to talk poker news, entertainment, and have lots of Sin City surprises. The phone lines are open at 731-1230. That's 731-1230. Or toll free. 1-866-820-5528. That's 1-866-820-KLAV. Now, let's bring on the hosts going all in. Here is Mark Hoke.
I'm in a panic over here, everybody. This is not good. Windows 7, I hate you so much. Do you guys have any idea how much I hate Windows 7?
Windows 8, you mean?
Or 8, 7, whatever it is.
I was going to say.
All Windows.
7. 7's way better.
I still remember the South Park scene where they shot Bill Gates and for how bad Windows 98 was. My computer had to restart right before the show, so all my notes are gone. So at the moment, I am scrambling.
We are freeballing.
Yes, for now.
Let's do it. Let's wing it.
Hey, thanks for joining us here on the Mark Hoke Show. Greatly appreciate you joining us here on the Talk of Las Vegas, KLAV 1230 AM. And I have 3 very special guests in studio. There has been a big feud about the old school and the young school brewing here with Joe Hashem starting all that trouble. So I thought, hey, you know what? Let's bring in the kids. These 2 guys, I don't know if their ages add up to mine. It's pretty close. No, they did. No, I'm a little bit younger than that. But we're joined by Jesse Capps, who just had a final table out in Oklahoma at the WSOP circuit. Jesse, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Very happy to have you. Our good buddy, you remember him from before Christmas, local artist and upcoming poker player, Bodlar Deathbringer is here.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
Thank you for showing up. I appreciate that. Still didn't put the mohawk up for us, though. I'm a little crushed.
Man, get me some video and it's up. No worries.
Okay, we'll work on that.
All right.
And, of course, this guy has been showing up on MTV. Are you kidding me? Mike Del Vecchio is joining us as well. Good friend of mine here. Mike, how are you doing?
Doing good, Mark. Thanks. Good to be here.
See, wow, you guys see now. This is nice. All the young kids are so courteous when they come in here. Mike Masso comes in and is like, it's like, thank you, Mark. Happy to be here. Great show coming up. So we are going to be breaking it all down about these guys' feelings about the debate of the old school, young school, plus some other good and bad things happening in the poker world. Oh, and speaking of which, let's get to it. The read from PokerNews.com.
Scanning the poker tables from around the world. This is The Read, brought to you by PokerNews.com.
Honestly, not a whole lot happening except for this story. This is the big one that has come out over the past few days since we were last on the show. 3-time World Series of Poker circuit champ Chan Pelton. He was not a good boy, as he was caught stealing a chip. This is unbelievable. Of course, he was down in the WSOP circuit event at the Palm Beach Kennel Club, and after event 9, which he won, so now he's picks up his 3rd circuit ring. But the tournament staff discovered that he had removed a chip from the table, a 25K chip. When they caught him, he said, hey, guess what? I just needed a souvenir, to give to my dad. I'm like, well, the ring might have been satisfactory. But they are now holding his winnings for this little incident. So, Jesse, we have the Borgata incident. Now we've got this. First, let's get your reaction to the taking of the chip. Do you buy the story or not? And now what do we do?
Well, basically, he had a souvenir for a couple days until the main event happens. And then once they introduced the 25,000 chip, that souvenir is going right on that table so that they could have he could have 25,000 more in his stack. So I don't believe it at all. I think he took it to add it on to his stack because he knows the rules. You can't take chips off the table, especially a $25,000 chip. Like if it's a 25 Annie or something like that, that's a different story. But 25,000, he's putting that on the table for the main event.
Yeah, and of course you were just out at a circuit event on a final table.
Correct, yeah.
And has there been any talk from the tournament staffs from anywhere you went, or as an example, of how they're going to be doing anything different to secure chips? Did they take any steps at all?
Well, when I was in the circuit event in Choctaw, that's when exactly the Brigada thing was happening. So they weren't really talking about it yet. I mean, so I don't know what they're going to do. I think there's going to be, need to be better watched. But right now, there's very little security in chips. When you're playing tournaments with high volume of players, people like get broken tables and stuff. Like, there's nobody watching them. There's nobody watching them. They just go, they could. I mean, it's probably really easy to trade chips and put chips on the table and stuff. And there's really little that they're doing right now. And I mean, we're gonna have to find a solution because right now there's nothing that is really stopping them. And I mean, I'm glad they figured out. Who just stole the chips in Brigada, and also they've caught both of the people, but they're also catching them after the fact, and now we're having a problem because it's after the fact, it's not during the tournament, and now we have a whole mess with this, who's going to be the casino champion in Florida, and and who's getting paid what, so they need to find a way to catch them in the act.
Yeah, Mike, of course, now you are a pretty high-stakes cash game player as well, so you're at the tables a lot, seeing all sorts of things happening. What do you think can be done about this situation at this point?
It's really tough. It seems like something that isn't really too easy to police. Cash games are different because the chips are just worth cash, and the worst thing that's going to happen is somebody's going to have 2K on and then maybe pull some money off, but it doesn't really affect too much where it does in a tournament. A tournament, just taking a 25K chip off the stack like that, especially if you're really deep. Let's not say he's already won the tournament and takes it. Let's say he's got 2 million chips and he takes off two 25K chips. It's pretty unsubstantial to his stack. But when he puts those on, when 25K chips just get introduced into play, his equity's skyrocketing. So it's really hard. Anytime somebody busts, are they going to have to take everybody's chips? It's even so, it's still so sleight of hand. It's not very hard to get good enough to pocket a chip or two. I really don't know what they could do besides putting RFID chips, which they do for the higher stakes denominations in cash games. But that's really expensive, and to do that for all the 5K or 25K plus chips, it's going to be really difficult to do. And then they have to have the sensors too. I personally don't really know exactly what they could do other than throw the book at everyone that they catch cheating.
Yeah, it is a mess right now, and we'll get in. If we have some time, we'll get into the long-term ramifications of this whole thing. But of course, right now we have our Grindette segment, and Jennifer Shahade is on the line, and Jen continues to move up in the poker world. Very happy to have you on the show, Jen. How are you?
Hey, I'm great.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about Phil Galfon's blog coming up, but real quick, you are doing some work for Mr. Galfon now. How about that?
Oh, yeah, I'm excited. I just started doing videos for Run It Once. And my first one was about open-face Chinese, and I just love talking about open-face. So now I get to do it on a more regular basis.
You're an addict. You
That's
are.
Right.
You are an OFC addict. It's ridiculous. But congratulations on that honor. I mean, those are some elite players there. And for you to get to join them at Run Once is just unbelievable. I am so happy for you. So big congratulations on that to you.
Thank you.
So, of course, this situation that's come up discussing Phil Galfond and Joe Hashem and Daniel Negreanu talking about this new school, old school situation. You're kind of right in the middle there. I mean, what are your thoughts about what has been said in these blogs and interviews about this conflict between the new school players and the old school players?
Well, I think that I'm friends with a lot of young players, and I think that they are really interesting people that if you give them a chance, they'll have a lot of interesting stories to share at the table and can be just as entertaining as, Hashem was complaining about how they're too dull and boring. I don't really see that quite as much. In fact, I feel like I'm noticing a change in the poker culture that's positive, in that people do seem to discuss less strategy at the table and harangue weaker players less. I don't know, the last couple of years since I've started playing more live, I've noticed it going in the right direction. So I'm kind of optimistic about things.
Yeah,
I really did enjoy. I enjoyed the whole conversation about all of this as well.
Well, I think it's interesting because we're going to talk to these guys in here about being in that situation where you're now having to face the public more, and you're young and having to deal with that. But are the younger players now, you think they're starting to finally make that adjustment and realize that, as they mature a little bit, they've got to get out there a little bit more and be more personable?
I think it takes practice to be good at interviews, and the sweet spot, because I do a lot of interviewing myself, the sweet spot is when you've been interviewed a few times, but not so many times that you have these memorized sound bites. So that's why I actually think there's this great potential, because there's all these young dreamers. They travel the world. They have so many interesting things to say about poker, and also what they're hoping for from their life and their travels. And because they've been on tap, that's actually a great opportunity. One thing that really did resonate with me in Phil Galfond's blog, though, was the point that a lot of young American pros, especially the ones who never really got to enjoy the days where we could play online poker on Stars and Full Tilt, et cetera, they might have a little bit of resentment, the justified resentment that they spent a lot of time studying the game, and a lot of their opportunities have simply been blocked off,
Exactly.
So it's just so different for them. And I can understand how that can be frustrating, that you've worked a lot at a game and there's almost no opportunity for you to succeed in it like some of your predecessors have. So then when you're expected or told by somebody like Hashem that you should be really happy all the time, it could come off as condescending. And I think that's why a lot of the time the attitudes you're going to get from people on the table, it's a lot based on their success and their opportunities in poker, not really their age or whether they're old school or new school. That's one of the reasons, frankly, generally you have a better experience the higher the buy-in. I mean, I'm sure most people can agree with that. I love playing in all sorts of buy-ins. Obviously, the lower the better value it's going to be, but usually it's more fun to play in, for instance, the $3,500 at the end of a series, and to play in a $300 tournament on the weekend, because usually, just frankly, the people who are able to play in the higher buy-ins are a little bit happier that somehow their poker lives have led them to that spot.
Yep, absolutely. And speaking of another spot you're in, by the way, I wanted to make sure we got to mention that you're doing some more work for Poker Stars now. So what's happening there?
Well, PokerStars is actually going to be involved in a lot of more chess projects in the near future, so I'm really excited about that, and there'll be some announcements about that coming up as well. It's important that we kind of show always this skill side of poker, that it's not gambling, that it's a skill game, and the number one chess player in the world, Magnus Carlsen, loves poker, and there's just so many relationships between the two of the games.
Oh, that's all we need is another super genius invading poker. Great. Thanks,
That's
Jen.
right.
That's your fault too, I bet, right?
Yeah, I mean, I lots of chess players already love poker. I can't take all the blame.
All right,
Credit.
fair enough. Well, Jen, I wish you all the best with everything. My gosh, it's so good to see you continuing to get more and more influence in the poker community, because you certainly deserve it. So congratulations to you, and we will speak to you again very shortly.
Thank you. Great to be on again.
Yeah, no doubt. I'll talk to you soon.
Again soon. Great. Bye.
See ya. All right, and make sure you follow the Grindettes at Grindettes on Twitter, the Grindettes on Facebook, and, of course, grindettes.com. Awesome. Boy, that's a lot of interesting information. I'm sure we're going to get to talk about that in a sec. But I do have to make sure to mention real quick that the Mark Hoke Show is powered by BlueRail.net and brought to you by PokerAtlas.com. Of course, you get all your information you need on tournaments across North America, plus poker room reviews and the new Table Talk feature at PokerAtlas.com. And, of course, we're also brought to you by Blind Squirrel Apparel, Team Poker Joker, Arctic Blue Cooling Towels, Double Digit Covers, who's been on a roll lately. If you want to make some money, give them a call right now, man. Go to doubledigitcovers.com and roguewire.com. All right. So, guys, real quick, let's get a reaction to what Jen said about the younger players maybe not getting those opportunities real quick. What do you think, Mike?
I sort of agree with both sides of the debate. On one hand, what Joe Hashem said is, very accurate, I think, a lot. But at the same time, Joe Hashem was just someone who was just in the right place at the right time and, got so much more opportunity than pretty much anyone. Just look at Jesse. Jesse took second in the main, and, he's got a small sponsorship deal with 888. He's not all over, whereas Joe Hashem, when he won, I'm sure there's a difference between winning, but you could look at Greg, too, or Ryan Reese. The opportunities there just are not the same that they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so on one hand, I see, like, I sort of agree. Like, I've been playing high-stakes cash games since I was 21, and I've always made it a point to be very personable at the table. Always, like, try and whenever possible, like, engage everybody else at the table. But I also don't think you have to be happy all the time. You know, tilt is a real thing. I think, if anything, like, when I'm tilted and but I show emotion and just, like, even though I over-exaggerate a little bit and I was, you know, like, the recreational players, they love that. They love to see that side of you when you're just, like, you're not some unshakable person, you know? You're a real human being and you're playing with them, and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Yeah.
I always like to play up the losing side myself.
Yeah, there you go. That's all right. Hey, by the way, speaking of table talk, we get to do another table talk segment here real quick. We didn't get to do one for a couple weeks because John Friedberg, who does the table talk segment, international traveler, is back in town finally. So let's hit that table talk segment. All right, everyone. It's time for the return of Table Talk with WSOP bracelet winner John Friedberg, brought to you by PokerAtlas.com, the #1 source for tournament information in North America and much more. John, with so many tournament options available to players, what are the factors they should look for when selecting a tournament to play?
When you're trying to make a decision about what live tournament to play in, there's really a few factors you want to consider. First off, what casinos are nearby. You obviously want to understand sort of what all of your options are, right? Also, the time. What time does a tournament start? And how much time do you have in your schedule? So the one mistake I see people making so frequently is they'll play in a 3 o'clock tournament that lasts 5 hours, but they have to be somewhere at 6 o'clock. So I never understood why people do that, but I see them do that all the time, and they end up having to punt off their stack when, you know, they don't have time to make the final table or even try to win it. Also, the buy-in. So you want to make sure that you're comfortable with the buy-in. So really you want to consider where your options are, what the timing is, and then, of course, the tournament, the buy-in, the game, and so on. If you're a little more sophisticated, you probably care a little bit about the structure. You know, how many starting chips, how many big blinds, what are the, you know, how long do the levels last, and so on, as well as how much money can you win. So at Poker Atlas, you'll see all of those options laid out very well. You'll see sort of every casino in your area, the starting times for all the tournaments, the buy-ins, the games, and of course, information on the structure, so you can very easily make your decision on where to play.
John, thanks for the great advice, and make sure you visit PokerAtlas.com and check out the new Table Talk feature. It's where the action is, PokerAtlas.com. Yeah, that is some great advice from John Friedberg right there when you're doing some tournament selection. Hey, if you have any ideas or any comments you want to make about that or anything else, go to PokerAtlas.com right now and check it out. All right, let's roll into a commercial break, and then we're going to turn all these guys loose in here. The kids are here, kids, taking over the house. Having a good time. Stick around, everybody. We'll be right back on the Mark Hoke Show. Thanks for joining us.
PokerAtlas.com has its finger on the pulse of all poker events in Las Vegas and beyond. Both on and offline, PokerAtlas.com is made by poker players, for poker players, and covers North America for every tournament, every day. Join the action by reading and posting your own reviews on PokerAtlas.com. Let everyone know what you really think about poker rooms you visited. PokerAtlas.com also features special offers and online sign-up bonuses for its members as well. Don't forget to like Poker Atlas on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Poker Atlas. PokerAtlas.com also has Twitter accounts for up-to-the-minute information about tournaments in your area. The action starts here at PokerAtlas.com.
It's time for you to check out RogueWire.com. News, sports, entertainment, and the internet home of The Mark Hoke Show. Don't wait. Let the sparks fly from your computer at RogueWire.com. And of course, RogueWire.com is powered by BlueRail.net. For over 2 years, The Mark Hoke Show has trusted BlueRail.net as their exclusive host, and you can too. Visit BlueRail.net for top-level web hosting, website building and maintenance, one-on-one customer service, and much more. It's time to get on board with your winning combination. BlueRail.net and RogueWire.com. How far do you want to go? Sports bettors, tired of getting beat every week at your sportsbook? It's time to stop guessing and start winning. We all know cash is king, and it's time to let the team at Double Digit Covers come to the rescue to help you get the positive cash flow you need to live the life you've always dreamed about. Tony Dos and his all-star sports handicapping team will be in your corner to help you beat the point spread, bring excitement and winning to your betting experience, and build your bankroll to levels you never thought possible. Get free winning sports information at doubledigitcovers.com and call now for today's free winner at 1-855-489-3500. That's 1-855-489-3500. Stop guessing and start winning today at doubledigitcovers.com.
Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Then follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show and like our Facebook page at The Mark Hoke Show for show news and outstanding poker content from around the world. Plus, enjoy the show anytime by subscribing to our podcasts on iTunes or at markhokeshow.podbean.com. We're even on your mobile phone at markhokeshow.podbean.com/mobile. Thanks for listening and being a part of The Mark Hoke Show.
One man, his lucky shirt, an unforgettable night, and a winning streak that never seemed to end. That's how Blind Squirrel began, and we haven't looked back since. We make the clothes that we want to wear for the places where we want to look and feel our best. The game, the speakeasy, and the casino floor. Blind Squirrel's small batch, high-quality gear is for people too busy grabbing life by the nuts to bother with crappy, ill-fitting clothing. Because like you, we prefer our nights long, our drinks strong, and our lucky shirt to be our most comfortable. So look good, be lucky, and visit blindsquirrelapparel.com for your new favorite shirt. As an added bonus, you'll receive 20% off your purchase with the promo code HOKE, H-O-K-E. You can also pick up Blind Squirrel apparel at the Borgata in Atlantic City and in Las Vegas at all Missouri stores at Mandalay Bay, Monte Carlo, The Mirage, and MGM Grand. Look good and be lucky with Blind Squirrel apparel.
This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
All right, and welcome back to the Mark Hoke Show here on KLAV. Certainly appreciate you joining us. The young guns of poker here in the house, Jesse Capps, Mike Delvecchio, and the upcomer Bodlar Deathbringer. You've been killing it online, man. Doing all right.
Yeah, I have. It's been going really good. Picking up a few 1Ks online, just trying to build my stack.
Well, that's good to hear, my friend.
Yeah.
And, well, what do you, as an outsider on this, what do you think about this old school, young school debate?
Personally, I think it's just a matter of, human interaction. Anytime you get a large group of people together, anytime there's something that's incredibly popular, you just have to deal with people. And no matter what, there are certain people that just like to ruin everyone else's day, and they're just miserable. And so, they are, just really trying to come in there and make people angry. And no matter what, you have to go in there and play your own game. And if you want to be a miserable person, be miserable. If you want to be happy, be happy, But I think discussing how you should act at the table is kind of overstepping and being a little too directive. If you run into someone who's a jerk at the table, be a jerk back to them. I find personally that when I run into people that are terrible like that, it's a lot easier to put them on tilt, call them out, bring them down, and, just play your own game.
And Jesse, as you've been getting out more and more on the circuit, do you see that chip on the shoulder between the younger guys and the old guys a lot? Because I can understand why it's there, for a couple of reasons. With for the fact that these guys have been famous for so long, but a lot of players in your place and Mike's place, think, God, they're not that good. If I was playing, if I took my skills and went back 20 years ago, I'd bury these guys. Do you feel like that there's that resentment there because you could probably tear these guys apart, but they're the ones getting the opportunities?
Well, yeah, everybody, you think you could tear them, they think they could tear you, they just, it's the views of, who it is. I think that, that everybody's got their own styles. It tends that the new school, the young school kind of have a certain style, maybe more of aggressive, style. And then there's the old school, maybe more conservative, but, well thought out. And it's just like, they're just butting heads with each other. And I think, I don't think there's a right or wrong way. I think it helps. The old school is where it came from. Poker, we do have to respect them. We do have to respect all the people that Phil Hellmuth, Daniel Negreanu, all that kind of stuff. And like, I think that's really important for us young people to remember that is where it came from, and not to be kind of jerks to them. But I think the old school has to respect that the young school is putting up results, whether they're acting a certain way or not.
Yeah, it's a very weird dynamic because the older players, had the chance because there weren't as many players out there that they were able to garner the publicity. They became famous, whereas guys like you are in your spots, like with Jesse, for example, where you mentioned, there's so many players out there and so many names that everyone kind of gets muddled up, and you really have to do more to stand out. And maybe those guys don't want to do that. I mean, what do you think about that, Mike?
I agree. Like, if you look at Greg, Greg has stayed completely out of the spotlight. He actively avoids it. He's told Jesse before that he wished Jesse won because he just hates doing interviews and things like that. So yeah, there's some people who are crazy and they seek it out, but I think a lot of the new school guys tend to actively avoid all of that extra attention. Sure, they might want a sponsorship deal, but they're not trying to go crazy and get super famous and stuff like that. Whereas I think poker in the older days, like when the cameras first started coming around, I think these guys who were just used to be gamblers and saw this opportunity to get fame and they really struck at it, and I don't blame them for that. It worked really well. We wouldn't be here today. All of us wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for them trying to garner up this fame and getting it. That's why the poker boom happened.
Yeah, but isn't there a trade-off when you think about that? Is if you have success, we talk about the phenomenon, the 15 minutes of fame. If you have the success, you may have to sacrifice some things in terms of maybe your time, the opportunities at the table to push yourself out there more, to take yourself up to that next level where Phil and Daniel and Mike are. So the opportunities then come in different ways, as opposed to maybe just trying to kill yourself at the table all the time and getting out there on the circuit. You can do it because you've put yourself in a stratosphere where now your name is recognized. So it's a pretty tricky situation for guys like you.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting too with Ryan saying that he's the best player in the world. Do I think he even believes that? Of course not. He knows he's not just the number one player in the world. But he said that to be brash and to try and capitalize on some fame, to try and get some fleeting moment of fame, which I said I would do if I made the final table. I said I'd be very brash personally. I don't know if I would have said I was the best player in the world per se, but.
Well, even with Jesse, though, he wrote on his thing, he's like, I'm going to win. They kept putting that on the broadcast. I'm going to win the main event. And he basically almost did.
Yeah. 45%ers didn't come through, But, so I don't know. I feel like most of the opportunity for big fame is pretty much done. Ryan Reese didn't really get that famous. He's famous in the poker world, but he's never going to be a household name, in my opinion. So I think we just sort of are trying to take what we could get at this point and just realizing that our money's going to come from poker, especially as a white American, Ryan Reese or Greg or Jesse. Sponsorship deals really aren't going to come ringing in. I think we just have to play our game of poker, and that's all we could really do.
Yeah, and Bob, I think it's really interesting taking that route of, we're in this industry, and when guys hit big, we know who they are, and, you're all over the magazines and the forums and everything else. But, being more of an outsider, do these guys really have pull outside of the poker community for the most part? There's probably only 2 or 3 players that if you walk down the street, the people would know who they are.
Well, personally, I don't think any of them do. It's not that big of a phenomenon. I mean, not to diminish poker or their accomplishments. I mean, I personally love the game and I know all of their names, but I'm into poker. If you go up to somebody on the street and ask them who Phil Hellmuth is, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to know. It's not on their radar. It has nothing to do with their life. And, poker is I think it's come up a long ways, but it's still not as pervasive as professional sports, for example. You know, those actually have household names. Those people gain worldwide recognition, but I also think that it has more to do with the individual and how they handle the spotlight and whether they actually even want the fame. You know, a lot of people don't want the spotlight. You know, they get into it, they get their money, they get their payout, but they don't want to deal with reporters, interviews, you know, everything else that comes along with it. So, you know, I just think that, you know, a lot of those guys aren't that interested.
Yeah, and it ties into all this cheating stuff too, because when you look at when poker does get into the mainstream, look at what happened recently. The situation with Who Jedi, that made news. We look at the Borgata chip scandal, that made news all over the place. Now this chip scandal's getting out. And do the players really do we really want people to get to know poker players? Because, you know, there's good guys out there in this game, but there's bad ones out there too. And, you know, you start shining that spotlight and sometimes, you know, you don't like what you see.
No, I just think it's, you know, the news, they want to hear the news that gets out with like chip scandals and, you know, people stealing things. And that's like more of what people come to think of poker because that's what they want to hear. I feel like if you look at the newspaper, oh, Ryan Reese won the main event. Oh, you know, this guy won. You know, it's interesting, but it's not a story. They're winners. They're winning. They're playing. They want to hear what's going on outside of the game. You know, something. I mean, it's almost more interesting. You know, that Jay Farber bought tried to buy 2 cars or whatever, Lamborghini or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like people want to hear more about that than they want to hear about, you know, who's winning what. You know, they just want to hear, you know, how are they doing with their winnings? What's going on? What's going wrong? Kind of thing.
And that, you know, with you doing, you know, with Jesse doing the reality show on MTV right now, and you guys are kind of tied into that a little bit, you know, that's something that is going to get out into the mainstream and say, okay, here's a poker player doing something. You know, we've seen Daniel Negreanu do TV. You know, is this the route that has to be taken for these guys to become more entertainers than poker players?
I think so. I think it's the only way they're going to get into the public eye. Jesse said he did that. He did the True Life. He wanted to present like a realistic look at like a down-to-earth poker player's life, because everything else in the media with poker players is like poker player going crazy at clubs, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on bottles of alcohol. He wanted to show like more of a down-to-earth perspective, and they still cut it up to like him being like, "Oh my God, I'm worried I'm going to go broke." Jesse's not worried he's going to go broke.
No.
So I mean, I don't really think we're ever going to escape like the mentality that like the not the mentality, but the fact that the only news that's really going to be brought upon the mainstream like media is going to be bad news for poker. I don't really think it's escapable. Like my mom sent me a link the other day about the cheating scandal, you know, about the one with the chips at Borgata. It's like, oh my God, were you at this tournament? Like, no, she doesn't send me ever any links like, oh, like poker player wins money. It's boring. Like I wouldn't want to read that article.
Yeah, and one point that Daniel brought up in the interview when he discussed this was when, and then Phil Galfond kind of piling onto that, was when you're watching poker on TV, the poker doesn't matter to them. It matters that you're being entertaining and you're entertaining people, as opposed to, you know, getting into the heavy strategy and everything else. It's just meant to be fun. And, you know, by the way, when you're watching poker on TV, would you rather hear them getting more into the strategy, or do you want to see them goofing around at the table?
I would rather see the strategy personally, but I'm interested in the game. I think as a mass appeal move, you know, you're gonna make something more mass appealing, you know, and typically that means dumbing it down.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Jesse, do you think it's gone over the line sometimes with the strategy on the TV programs?
I mean, obviously the World Series, you know, that one is probably the least strategy, but there, I mean, even every year it's actually getting more strategy talk by like Norman Chad and Lon McCarron. They're talking more about it, and maybe it's losing some of its viewership. And to be honest, I think, you know, we do need to dumb it down to, you know, get more people interested and just, you know, more entertainment value into poker.
Yeah. And speaking of strategy, by the way, it's time for you guys to suffer a little bit. I hope you're ready.
Great.
Because it is time for the Arctic Blue Keep Your Cool game of the day.
It's time for the Arctic Blue Keep Your Cool game of the day.
We're going totally off topic, by the way. Completely for this game. By the way, congratulations to the U.S. hockey team. winning their quarterfinal game, and Canada almost got bumped off today. It was close. We almost dodged the Canadian bullet, but we'll be playing them next match. I think we got Sweden and Finland on the other side, so the Norwegians get the Scandinavians get to have their fun, and we're going to see some real hockey on the other side. But we're going to test your Olympic knowledge today.
I've been watching the Olympics the entire time.
Oh, I'm
going to kill it.
All right. Well, does that mean you want the toughest question on the board?
Yeah, hand it to me.
Okay, we will. So what we're going to do, very simply, we're going to go around. We're going to ask you guys a little Olympic trivia. See who can answer the most questions correctly. Mike's over here like cracking his knuckles, getting ready to go. All right.
Actually, I have actually. I'm really into the luge thing, and I caught that the other night ago. But I've been so busy, so I know we're kicking some rear in the medal count, though.
Yeah, we're doing all right. Yeah. Well, that's because we all added all the half pipe and stuff in there. That's our home right there, man. So, Jesse, you ready for the first question?
All right, let's do it.
All right. Speaking of which, adding the half pipe to the Olympics practically handed this legendary redheaded snowboarder multiple Olympic gold medals in 2006 and 2010. Who is he?
I'm going to go with Shaun White.
You are correct, sir.
All right.
All right. See, that was nice. I gave you an easy one.
Too easy.
That was a little easy.
Yeah, I want an easy one.
Okay, well, let's go to Mike here. I'll give you an easy one, too. He was the U.S. hockey team captain in 1980. He scored the winning goal against the Soviet Union.
I'd like to start by saying I have to give a shout out to What's Her Face. And then that's going to be my answer.
Oh, no.
I don't know hockey. I'm not a hockey person.
That's not good. Bodler, chance to steal on this.
I'm going to disappoint you on this one. I don't know that one either.
Are you kidding me?
I know.
I'm not the only one.
Yeah. Terrible.
I'm looking at Jesse, and he's shaking his head. You don't know who the captain of the Miracle on Ice team was?
I don't know, but we're going to have to rent the movie tonight.
I watched that movie like 10 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, remember.
My God.
None of us were born yet. Get him, Mark.
It's Mike Ruzioni.
I know, but seriously.
I've never even heard of that guy.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys have to watch Miracle tonight. That's
we're
it.
doing that.
Okay, fine.
Oh, Lord.
Jesse up one zip across the
Yeah,
All
my
right.
God. All right, Bodler, you'll get this question.
Okay, good.
You know what? Screw you guys. He was the broadcaster who made the famous call for the Miracle on Ice game in 1980. He's still announcing today.
Is it Bob Costas?
No. You're in the right ballpark. Jesse, chance to steal on that.
I don't know, Chris Collinsworth. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Come on, Del Vecchio.
No clue.
No?
I don't watch hockey ever.
Jesus.
Get him, man. Go get him.
Go.
No.
He announced the game.
Oh, man.
Do you believe in miracles? Yes. It would have miracle if any of you guys got there. Al Michaels.
Al Michaels, right. There you go.
Oh.
He's still, oh my God. All right.
Again, never heard that name before.
Wow. Okay. Well, this should get interesting.
Do you have
from
any
here on
questions after 1980?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, cool.
All right. Jesse. Yeah, let's do this one for you. This U.S. Olympic men's figure skater was immortalized in song by the South Park guys in the South Park movie.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
Charlie White. I don't know.
No.
What would Brian Boitano do?
There you
He was
go.
here today.
There you go. Del Vecchio scores on that. That is correct. Good job. All right, Del Vecchio, this is your question. Oh, you wanted it. Yeah, some of these are. Let's do this one. Okay. Skating in tiny circles very quickly turned into fame and fortune for this endorser of Subway and Dancing with the Stars champion. Oh,
come
Silence,
on.
not good for radio.
Come on.
Could you repeat the question?
Okay, one more time. Skating in tiny circles very quickly turned into fame and fortune for this endorser of Subway and Dancing with the Stars champion. He's not cheering and doing the little arms in the air there, is he? No, Buzz.
Brian Boitano.
No, it's not Brian Boitano. Bodlar, chance to steal.
I don't remember.
No. All right. Jesse.
We're going to take a shot at Christina Yamaguchi.
No, my God. Speed skater Apollo.
Oh my God.
I knew that.
You said in tiny circles, so I was thinking about people
he's
spinning.
a skater.
Well, you said, yeah, I was thinking.
Skating in tiny circles.
Those are medium to large
Yeah,
circles.
I
okay.
thought
Oh, my
figure
God.
skater too.
Yeah,
that
that's
was a
why
bad
I thought-
question.
All right, Bodlar.
Okay. I need to get on the board.
He wanted the tough one.
He
man.
wanted the
man.
tough one.
I haven't even gotten the easy one. This isn't good.
This is the sport where you go down on a track on a sled head first and hope you don't become what the sport is named.
That would be skeleton.
Skeleton is correct.
Nice.
All right, so I think Bodlar and Jesse have got one, correct?
Yep.
I got one too.
Mike got one.
Okay, so we're all tied up.
We're all tied up.
We're all tied up.
Dino,
All right.
South Park fanatic.
All right. Jesse.
Yes.
She was famously hit in the ankle with a lead pipe by Tanya Harding's buddies before her Olympic performance, but still skated, making yelling, why, a household catchphrase.
Well, the 1994 silver medalist was Nancy Kerrigan.
Wow, there you go.
And I know that because I happened to watch the 30 for 30 last night.
Perfect.
So
Wow,
you gave me the
did
perfect
homework.
question.
All
The
right.
one I actually knew.
Jesse's got two. All right. Mike. Combining the two greatest things ever, long distance skiing and shooting a 45 millimeter target from 50 meters, this sport officially began the Olympics in 1960.
It's called ski shooting.
No.
I don't. I know the thing, but I don't know what it's called.
Bodlar.
Biathlon.
Biathlon is correct. You actually, I believe, have a chance to win the game on this.
All right, let's do it.
Final question. I'm going to be stunned if one of you guys get this right.
Oh, man.
Well, but I got a tough one for you. This 3-time women's figure skating champion from Norway was immortalized in the movie Caddyshack as she was Ty Webb's first choice to take over for Al before he picked Danny Noonan. All right? So there's a famous quote in the Caddyshack movie. Remember when Al got hurt, hit with the golf ball? Oh, my arm, my arm. And Ty wanted to team with this figure skater. Who was it?
No idea.
No idea?
Again, questions after 1980.
Come on, this is good. Jesse, can you get this?
You said it was a female.
Yep, female figure skater.
In what year? Can we give a year?
Way back.
19. Oh, man.
What's the country of origin?
Norway.
Norwegians. Huh?
No.
It's a spelling bee joke.
I
Don't remember the quote in the movie. No? You had to have seen Caddyshack, right?
long time ago.
Oh,
I
jeez.
saw
All
it.
right, you're out.
So let's dance. I just wanted to quote the movie somewhere.
Fair enough. All right, we did get a quote in. No, that's not right. Alan, you got this one?
I can't remember. It's been so long since I've seen Caddyshack.
No?
Well, I'll have to get my own stuff up.
Everybody out there in the audience is screaming, well, Sonia Henny's out. Sonia Henny, 3-time figure skating champion.
Man.
You got to back up here because we got a 2-2 tie.
I have no backup, so we're going to call it a tie.
A tie?
Good job.
So what? It was a Bodlar and Jesse.
Bodlar and Jesse, 2 apiece.
I mean, I knew Sean White and the skeleton.
Wait a second.
too.
I got
just
one.
got the hardest
I got
questions.
one to win.
Mike,
this.
just
Okay,
a
real
third,
quick,
just
real
a
quick.
third,
All right,
Mike.
all right.
I got one to win this. Okay.
All right, here we go.
This guy was a famous NASCAR race car driver.
Uh-oh.
And after he retired, he helped finance the U.S. bobsled team. Who was the NASCAR
God.
driver?
Oh, my
Richard
God.
Petty.
Wrong.
No.
Jimmy Johnson.
He's still
He's
racing.
still racing.
Oh, you said,
John Candy.
I have no idea.
Candy.
Gentleman's name was Mr. Jeff Bodine from Chemung, New York.
They had no hope on that. No hope.
I tried.
So gold medals for Bodlar and Jesse. We have to give Del Vecchio a bronze. That's all we can do.
Sad story.
Can you
Yeah.
tie?
I'll
Can
take
you
it.
tie in the Olympics?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've
Okay.
had ties.
Oh.
There was a tie for bronze in one of the skiing.
Yeah,
camps.
absolutely. Well, guys, that was a lot of fun there. But of course, don't forget, make sure you guys go to arcticblu.com, pick up your Arctic Blue cooling towel. It's starting to heat up out here. You need to pick one up. So put in the code Mark Hoke Show. You get 15% off plus free shipping. Go buy one today. All right, let's take a break and we'll come back, talk some more poker with Jesse Caps, Mike Del Vecchio, and Bodlar Deathbringer.
Sports bettors, tired of getting beat every week at your sportsbook? It's time to stop guessing and start winning. We all know cash is king, and it's time to let the team at Double Digit Covers come to the rescue to help you get the positive cash flow you need to live the life you've always dreamed about. Tony Dos and his all-star sports handicapping team will be in your corner to help you beat the point spread, bring excitement and winning to your betting experience, and build your bankroll to levels you never thought possible. Get free winning sports information at doubledigitcovers.com and call now for today's free winner at 1-855-489-3500. That's 1-855-489-3500. Stop guessing and start winning today at doubledigitcovers.com.
At Team Poker Joker, we build innovative, high-performance, poker-focused apparel designed to keep you cool and calm in tough situations. Wait, no we don't. We've just got a cool brand representing the suits of this beautiful game called poker. Our gear won't make you better, but it will keep a smile on your face. So don't be so serious and show you know how to have fun. Get your Poker Joker gear today at TeamPokerJoker.com. Grin and win today at TeamPokerJoker.com.
It's time for you to check out RogueWire.com. News, sports, entertainment, and the internet home of The Mark Hoke Show. Don't wait. Let the sparks fly from your computer at RogueWire.com. And of course, RogueWire.com is powered by BlueRail.net. For over 2 years, The Mark Hoke Show has trusted BlueRail.net as their exclusive host, and you can too. Visit BlueRail.net for top-level web hosting, website building and maintenance, one-on-one customer service, and much more. It's time to get on board with your winning combination. BlueRail.net and RogueWire.com. How far do you want to go?
Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Then follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show and like our Facebook page at The Mark Hoke Show for show news and outstanding poker content from around the world. Plus, enjoy the show anytime by subscribing to our podcasts on iTunes or at markhokeshow.podbean.com. We're even on your mobile phone at markhokeshow.podbean.com/mobile. Thanks for listening and being a part of The Mark Hoke Show.
PokerAtlas.com has its finger on the pulse of all poker events in Las Vegas and beyond. Both on and offline. PokerAtlas.com is made by poker players for poker players and covers North America for every tournament, every day. Join the action by reading and posting your own reviews on PokerAtlas.com. Let everyone know what you really think about poker rooms you visited. PokerAtlas.com also features special offers and online sign-up bonuses for its members as well. Don't forget to like Poker Atlas on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Poker Atlas. PokerAtlas.com also has Twitter accounts for up-to-the-minute information about tournaments in your area. The action starts here at PokerAtlas.com. The best in poker news, entertainment, and more. This is the Mark Hoke Show.
And we are back here on the Mark Hoke Show. Thanks for being with us. We've got the young guns of poker. We've got Jesse Capps, Mike Del Vecchio, and Bodlar Deathbringer over here. Bodlar's kind of giving me the stare down.
Those questions were terrible.
I think he's a little bitter.
Yeah.
He's a little bitter. I made him work.
Even though I tied for gold, they were terrible.
Hey, you know what? A win's a win. Take it.
Hey, yeah, I guess.
That's how it goes. Del Vecchio, is everything okay with you, by the way? We have text messages flying. I just want to make sure that we're all right with...
We're all good. I was told I sounded like a jerk.
Why? What'd you do?
The shout out to what's her name apparently didn't go over so hot.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, we all think you're wonderful, whoever you are. So God bless you. Great. Thanks for listening to the show.
I'm also blushing a lot right now.
I'm sorry.
It's a good thing that it's radio.
Red. Look at this.
He is kind of red. Wow, I've never seen that.
Well, what's her name? You've made an impression.
Didn't even want to say a name. That is terrible. Oh,
nice.
My God. Well, so, Jesse, we've got a few minutes left, so let's talk a little bit about where you think poker's going at this point. What does the future hold for players like you?
Well, I was like going back to what Hashem said and all that stuff is like I'm very personable at the table. I'm a goofball. I have more of a personality like Phil Hellmuth, Daniel Negreanu, and a lot of kids are more reserved and play straightforward. And I kind of like that a lot of kids do that because because if everybody was goofball and loud and told stories and stuff, then nobody would stick out. So you need people to stick out, and that's why I'm kind of hoping people are quiet so I could be the interesting one. But you definitely
Hard to believe. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You should have seen it when I got to the final table in Choctaw. I was on my chair as we were all three-way all in. It was like ace, queen, kings, and jacks. I had the ace, queen, and I spiked the ace on the turn. I was on my chair excited, and they literally are pulling me off the, the floor because I was like, it's not even the winning tournament, and maybe I got a little too excited, and I did bust out Phil Mater, and he's a respectable, nice guy. He took it well, but just like stuff like that, I don't know. For me, I hope it brings back the game. I mean, definitely. We need some more poker shows. We need like the big game back. We need poker after dark. Some couple more games that will just bring back the personalities and stuff. Because right now, I think all we have is the WSOP, if I'm correct. That's on like national TV.
Yeah, it's risking being a lost generation of players at this point in terms of guys being popular. It may take a little more time, and hopefully it doesn't skip by you guys. But I mean, this is a distinct possibility. Wouldn't you say, Mike?
Yeah, I could easily imagine the game sort of slowly fizzling out. It hasn't been getting more and more popular. It's been getting less and less popular. And sadly, I mean, it's a game that I really love, but I could certainly see it fizzling out.
But it's weird though when you look at the numbers that come out for these live events, and I'm on Poker Atlas every day looking at the schedule, and there's like 32 events in the month of February. I mean, it's ridiculous how many tournament series are going on right now. So the opportunities are out there, but in terms of taking that next step, it just doesn't seem like it's going to happen for a few more years. With online being where it is and not a lot of TV, it's a really difficult situation for the guys that are in your age group.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just think maybe they need more publicity on even smaller events and stuff like that I don't know if you can see the LAPC or not, like live stuff, and like live streaming I think probably helps, but just something where you could get more publicity out, especially for like the young guys, to help them grow their careers, because we need people to help the new generation come up, because they're going to be the new generation. They're going to be the Negrani, the Helmuth, that's going to be the Reese and, the Sylvia and, the Mercer and all those people. They're going to be the new generation. So as a, poker community, we also need to help them become, pretty recognized household names.
Yeah, that was one of my complaints about what Joe said, was that, these young guys don't care about, but those guys have to make that step to reach out to players like you guys and help bring you up and bring you along into the fold. I know in Phil Galfon's blog, he said, well, nobody talked to me when I did high stakes poker a few years ago, and so how does that help? There's the things that you guys can teach them and the things that they can teach you. If you can kind of put it together, then everybody's better for it.
I agree.
Bodler.
Yeah, I also think that there's, you got to take the initiative. If you want to get out there and you want to get your name involved, you have to go do it. It's when anything gets that crowded, you have to stick out. You have to be a personality. You have to be somebody. I mean, it's part of, my whole motif, it's personally who I am, but it also helps that, it gets me a lot of attention.
Yeah, walking into a casino with a full mohawk that could stab Jesus up in heaven.
Yeah,
that's that'll usually do it.
A foot-long orange mohawk has a tendency to stick out.
It works. Well, great show, guys. I got to tell you, if the future of poker is players like you, we are in very, very good hands. Jesse Capps, Bodlar Deathbringer, Mike Delvecchio, thanks for joining us here on the Mark Hoke Show. Make sure you go to markhokeshow.podbean.com. Get down on those downloads on the podcast. We'd certainly appreciate it. And by the way, new time in 2 weeks. We're going to be on at 3 p.m. They want to put us in drive time because apparently everybody loves the show so darn much. That's exciting. So,
awesome. Beautiful.
So 2 weeks from now, we'll be on at 3 p.m. for the Mark Hoke Show. Hey, thanks for joining us, everybody. We appreciate it. We'll see you guys next week on the Mark Hoke Show.